What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about some leaked Returnal reviews. That's right, talking about reviews again. Now, I want to make a point early on, and I've said this before, and I know some people will say these things to me, but I really don't go based off reviews. I truly mean that when I say that. I just think, number one, it's an interesting thing to talk about, and number two, I think when you see enough people talking about very positive things about the game, I mean, they are individuals, and they don't have to speak for us, but I do think if you have enough people saying the exact same really good thing, odds are, it could actually be pretty solid. And from what I'm seeing, okay, now this comes from Reddit. I'm going to read over what these people are saying that they saw from these reviews. It sounds very, very good. Now, in case people don't know, reviews go live, I believe, tomorrow morning, like very, I think it's like 5 a.m. Pacific time or like 8 a.m. Eastern. I think it's somewhere around that time. So when people, I guess, in the United States, let's say, when they wake up, the reviews will be out for Returnal. Okay, so we don't have much longer to wait until we see things officially, but it's very exciting that we're almost there. So make sure, as always, as I've told you guys before, if you haven't already subscribed, and we are pushing for 50K, we're getting very, very close. We're doing really well. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on so you know all these videos. Go up and give this video a like. Help spread it around. The video will die after today anyway because the reviews will go out, but make sure you guys give it a like to help this video out. Okay, this comes from Reddit, and it's Fextra Lifes. Now, I don't know who that is, so I guess I know the big name ones. I know some smaller publications too that do reviews, but I've never heard of Fextra Life, but that's okay. And it said that their review for Returnal was leaked ahead of the embargo. They gave it a 9.3 out of 10, and they said it had 30 to 50 hours of playtime. So that was the title. He said the full article was available at, for a small period of time, but it's no longer available. And then he said he tried to get as much as he could before it obviously went away. The reviewer loved the narrative and considers it one of its strengths. Now, we'll talk about these things more in detail once we're done reading it, because I find that really interesting. The weapons play a major role in keeping the gameplay loop refreshing and engaging. 30 to 50 hours of playtime, and he stressed most people would be leaning towards 50 hours to complete this. Calls it an early Game of the Year contender. And there's another user that said there are 2 reviews, I think besides that earlier. Both sites gave the game a 9.3. So maybe it was that same site and then one other one. He said he only skimmed through the reviews, but they both praised the gameplay and noted the game took full advantage of the PS5 hardware. But apparently there's the odd frame rate drop when a battle gets too hectic. The random weapon drops can result in some fights being perfectly balanced, one loop, and tedious the next, and the story falls flat in its final act. I think it's important to note regarding the story that they said it leaves certain plot threads unanswered and up for players' interpretation. So I'd imagine that's going to be down to personal preference. So as of now, those are kind of the only 2 things said about in terms of what they saw. So let's talk about this. So the first part is the narrative, I guess. So one said that they love the narrative and considers it one of his strengths. The other one says it's pretty darn solid, but then it falls apart kind of at the end, and that again it leaves things up for us to talk. So what I find really interesting about that, and I definitely encourage you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, a few weeks back I did a review score predictions video. Okay, I talked about what I think it'll get, and I think I predicted somewhere in the very high 8s, maybe like an 8.7 to a 9.1, somewhere in that range. Definitely go give that video a watch, because I say in it that I think gameplay is 1000% going to carry the game, and even if the story isn't all that good, I don't think it's going to hold the game back that much, because yes, the game probably does rely on story, okay, but in general, Housemarque, and I'm just going back by the history of Housemarque, the gameplay is the king. The gameplay carries it, and they've never really done story. So the fact that there is a story in the first place, I'm not saying, by the way, that just because there's a story, like immediately the game's better because of it, and we have to like it. No, none of that. I know I've been praising Returnal. I'm not afraid to call it out if it has weaknesses, though. I'm not a shill. I'm not a fanboy. None of that. I mean, I call it as it is. So I would say if the story is average and it doesn't hurt the game, it would be, I would say, a solid addition. If the story is actually really good and it helps the game, because going into this game, I've said it before, I don't expect much from the story. I mean, that's just flat out. I expect really solid gameplay. That's it. I expect to have fun. I expect to be challenged, and I expect just really engaging and that good, and like they talk about, like the loop of gameplay. That's what I want. That's what I've always noticed about this game. Yeah, they push the girl, and I don't even know her name. I forget her name consistently, but they push her. they push the story, but in reality, I don't care to. Now, I actually am a big story. It's not like, if you guys are the first time watching me, I actually am a big story guy. I mean, like, my favorite games like Uncharted 4, I think it has an amazing story. I love story-driven games in general, but for a game like this, story to me isn't the most important. So, those reviews, kind of interesting, the fact that, at the very worst, it seems like the story helps the game, and then, yeah, it kind of falls apart maybe towards the end, but it definitely helps. Now, again, these are just 2 people. We don't know the rest of the reviews. You're not supposed to have this is especially for Sony games, okay, you have to be kind of special for Sony to basically handpick you to review their titles, okay? So to leak a review is not a smart move. They may never get Sony games again. That's just kind of what I know about the gaming industry, so it's probably a stupid idea that they did that. Even if it was by mistake, you got to kind of keep a lid on that kind of stuff, but I do find that interesting, right, about the story. And then you have the weapons play a major role in keeping the gameplay loop refreshing and engaging, and then the other one talks about how the random weapon drops can sometimes result in fights being perfectly balanced and in one and then tedious in the next. So, look, I've said it before, like, I kind of pieced out on this game a few weeks ago, maybe even a few months ago, in terms of, like, I've seen a bunch of trailers, I've seen gameplay, but then I kind of stopped. So the stuff that, I know there's, like, I think I sometimes play it too, like the beginning of Returnal, or they had that 45-minute live stream for Game Informer. Like, I haven't watched any of that. Even if I put it in these videos, I don't watch it. I kind of just, like, pick segments of it and put it in, but I don't, like, actually take it in, because I kind of want to just be, like, I know what I'm expecting, and I'm just ready for it. I don't really care to see anything else as of right now. But what that sounds like to me, okay, it sounds like Nex Machina. And I've been saying that this game reminds me a lot of Nex Machina, and that's kind of what I get from it, where, in Nex Machina, if you guys don't know, the items randomize, or they don't really randomize, they drop and they go through a loop, and if you walk into them when they're on one of the weapon kinds, that's the weapon you have. Now, I'll have like my favorites, and there's some weapons in Nex Machina that are very difficult to use, or I guess more difficult than others, where some of them I think are very, very good, and you can get through areas a lot faster or a lot more efficiently with certain weapons. And then if by accident you run into the weapon when it's not your favorite, you're in for a more difficult time. So again, like, I'm not pretending like I know these things about Returnal, because again, like, these guys just took what they said. And again, these are only 2 reviews. So even if you love these 2 reviews, or if you hate them, the message is the same. It doesn't mean that's like the universal thought about it. And remember, my beginning comment is, at the end of the day, probably make the decision on your own. That's what I do. I make the decision. I'm getting the game. I was getting the game a year ago, or whenever they announced the thing. I wasn't getting the game because these review sites said that it was good. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. But I don't hate that maybe as much as, no, I guess, again, like, I haven't played it, so maybe when I play it, I'll find it more annoying or less annoying, but I hope that doesn't affect me all that much, and I don't think it will, because that's kind of what I expect coming from Nex Machina, where it's like, yeah, you can get good weapons, and you can probably get through it a lot easier, and then sometimes now this one's randomized, so in Nex Machina, you do technically have control over the weapon that you choose, because you can just wait for it to get to the one that you want, whereas this one is literally just random. And then 30 to 50 hours of gameplay, with it leaning towards 50, and an early Game of the Year contender. So, we actually talked about the length, didn't we, a couple videos ago? Again, if you guys didn't check that one out, make sure. I've talked about actually all bases, I think, of Returnal that I could have talked about leading into it. I feel like I've covered them all, okay? But we talked about how long the game needs to be. I honestly said the game only needs to be like 10, 15 hours to, like, fulfill my expectations. Like, if I got 15 hours out of Returnal, I mean, you really, yes, playing Nex Machina and Resogun over and over again to get the platinum and all that stuff, yeah, that can get you there pretty easily, and you're paying like triple as much for Returnal, so you could say that it's not maybe as worth it. But in my opinion, if the base story or the gameplay lasts 10, 15 hours, you can do it a couple times, you can get the platinum, you can just get good at, you can get better at the game, right? You can kind of like level up your skills. And I don't mean like literally like a skill tree, I mean like you as a player gets better at it. If you can do all that, and it gets you 20, 30, 40 hours. I mean, that's to me perfect. So 30 to 50 is a good amount of time. 50, he said, obviously, was with what more people would lean to. So maybe if you're rushing it, or maybe if you're just really good and you don't die a lot, maybe I don't want to sound cocky, because I'm sure I'll die quite a bit. But maybe if you are like just naturally, like you just jump in and you're doing things that are like godlike, maybe it won't take you as long. But that excites me. I mean, my God, guys, I'm pumped. I'm so excited. And at this this point, we're very, very close to getting the game. I cannot wait. Like I said, the actual reviews go live tomorrow. Okay, so I'm sure we'll see these two again. Okay, these two review sites. Again, we don't know what the other one is, though. We only know one of them. So we'll have to figure out what the second one that they're talking about is tomorrow. So all of them go live tomorrow morning. Now, here's the deal. To wrap up this video, tomorrow there will be a video. We'll go over all the reviews. I'm not going to go over every single one of them, but we'll go over generally what people were saying about Returnal. So that's going to be the third video. You know, I make 3 to 4 videos a day on this channel. That's going to be the third video of the day tomorrow. Okay, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that, and then we're gonna go from there. We'll talk about the ending of the game. We'll talk about the game itself, review, live stream. I'm gonna be live streaming this game this Friday. If you guys want to stop by Friday around like 5:30 to 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys want to check back the channel on Friday, so there's gonna be basically, I'm saying, loads of Returnal content. Really starting a few weeks ago, but over the next couple days, there's gonna be a ton. We'll do daily videos on it. I cannot wait. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these reviews, if you believe them, I guess, in the first place. Do you believe them? Do you think there's anything wrong with them? What do you expect maybe the review score to be tomorrow? Let me know. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon, so you guys see the live stream, see the videos that I'll be putting up over the next couple of weeks. Give this video a like if you did like it. Thank you all so much for your support. I love to see it. I love to see the support, not even just for like me as a channel, but also for this game. Because I really do love that. So thank you all so much for your support, and I'll see you all on the next video.